All right. Go ahead and kick it off. Phil is running a minute or two behind, but I've returned. It's episode 87 of Snakes and Stogies, brought to you by Puget Sound Pythons. So last week it was Phil and Brian. Bratz and I actually drove up to Black Box to pick up some racks and check out the new warehouse and stuff. So that's the reason I was not here last week. For whatever reason, me and Bratz thought it was a shorter drive than it actually was. We didn't end up getting home until 9, I think, or 9:30 actually. So getting everything unloaded, we had to stop at Bratz's parents' house, which is like cross county here, and basically it just didn't happen. So, but I'm here this week. All my Black Box stuff is set up and looking good. Phil will be here anytime. But other than that, I mean, rearranged the room, got the Gonyosoma set up in a nice enclosure with cypress mulch and 4 or 5 different hide options. Got some UV in there now. Gonna see if that has any sort of bearing on getting those guys to produce something for me. Getting heavy into some corns. Been getting a handful of corns lately. Got Daytona on Thursday. I'm super excited about that. I know this guy is too, because Daytona is only mere days away.
Only mere days away.
What's up, buddy?
4 days and counting, ladies and gentlemen.
Couldn't get here fast enough.
I know, right? Forgive me for being fashionably late as always.
It's not fashionable when it's a habit.
I had to see a man about a horse.
I'm kidding.
So, what did I miss? Did we talk about our fine sponsors yet?
I did mention them.
Excellent. Glad to hear.
I was talking about, what happened last week, what's been going on as far as, like, yesterday was my only day off, and Bratz came over and we rearranged the room entirely again.
I saw your little Instagram reel. It was looking good.
I'm hoping, talking to Matt Most and stuff about the Gonyosoma, the Jansenii, he thinks UV, does play a factor in getting those guys to go, but we'll see. I don't know. I put my little Wise camera on them so I could check in on them throughout the day, see if they were basking or like actively using it, and I didn't notice anything. They could have earlier in the morning when I wasn't looking at anything, but who knows? So
okay, cool.
We'll see. Time will tell. I'm in no hurry.
Nice.
I'm just trying to guide them in the right direction.
As Bob Rock would say, it's about the journey. And I'll leave you with that one so you can segue into the next chapter.
Correct.
What are we smoking tonight?
So I have this Placencia Alma del Campo that cracked. So
okay,
I'll go ahead and put it out of its misery.
Good.
Good. Alma del Campo is probably my favorite out of the Placencia stuff that I've had so far. Just nice medium strength, nothing too crazy, but still kind of a little complex, little nuanced. It's kind of nice. It's pleasant.
Excellent.
What are you smoking?
I always butcher the name. Is it Aquitaine or is it Aquatine, like the cartoon?
Aquitaine.
Aquitaine.
It's actually a place in France, I guess, where they found one of the first early human fossils.
Interesting. Oh, it goes in line with their
the whole paleontological.
Pre-hominid.
Mm-hmm.
Cool beans. I'll be lighting that up in a minute. I actually, this past weekend was Marcus's wedding.
I saw.
And, it was phenomenal, a wonderful time, and so happy to be a part of that beautiful wedding. And he had Cuban style cigar rollers at the wedding. And essentially, I don't know if they were, I don't want to say they were faking it, because there is a lot of people in Miami that don't speak English. They only speak Spanish. I get that. But at the same time, I feel like if you did these events enough to get booked for them in the fashion that it was booked, they would know a good amount of English, enough to maybe talk about cigars. And there was a bunch of dark sticks and a bunch of light sticks. And I said, "What are these?" And she said, Cuban tobacco. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Is this like Habano? Is it, Madero?" And she kind of looked at me like I had four heads. And then I realized that the guy who actually knew what he was talking about, he was either deaf or really, really didn't speak any lick of English and could not understand what I was attempting to say in Spanish.
Right.
So I basically got a little bit of each and tried them, and they were delicious. But it was just interesting how it almost felt like they really didn't even know.
Yeah.
They were just like, "Yeah, it's tobacco," So, but it was fun, man. It was a beautiful wedding.
Looked very pleasant. Looks like Marcus pulled out all the stops.
That he did, man. That he did. I'm eager to see the photos because, all the groomsmen are in one room and then all the bridesmaids are in another, and they don't see each other, whatever. That is the beauty of not being the groom, is I got to float between the two. And I did go into the bridesmaid room and see everyone in hair and makeup, and, moms with rollers in their hairs, totally embarrassed that this fat bearded guy was sneaking in there. Hilarious. But all the groomsmen we went out on the golf course to take, groomsmen photos on the golf course. Very, very scenic, very beautiful in Miami. And the minute we came inside, the photographers, like a team of guys, they're like, "All right, we're gonna go upstairs. We're gonna take care of the girls, and we'll get some, before and after makeup and all that kind of stuff, and get prepping the dress and all that." And he's like, "We're gonna go to the same spot, so close the blinds to the hotel room so you can't see them."
Mm-hmm.
And the minute they left the room, one of the feeder bands from the Tropical Storm Fred hit, and it just monsooned. So I have no idea where they took their photos. It was definitely not outside, let alone on the golf course. So I'm eager to see how that goes. But it was a beautiful wedding, and I can't thank Marcus and Amanda enough for letting me be part of it. So,
I mean, if you're going to be a wedding photographer, you pretty much have to be flexible and adaptable to change on the fly.
100%.
I have a very hard time believing that almost all the weddings that photographers do on a regular basis go according to plan every time. Like, it's probably actually the opposite, where it's almost always something's missing. You forgot a battery. You forgot this.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was the main guy, his business partner, who I guess was like the videographer type guy, and then two assistants. And there was one of the two assistants. You could tell one was like I don't want to say do boy, it'd be insulting, but his job was to procure.
No, they usually have some person that's like a runner that does all that.
And then the other guy had a clipboard and was like making sure that every shot and every angle and everything that they mapped out for the day was addressed, and kind of like I guess like team leader, you know what I mean? And it was very cool watching them work. So it was definitely not their first rodeo.
Yeah, I'm sure if you have a team of people, eventually it becomes like a routine or a dance.
Oh, sure. Of course.
Oh, I should get some coffee. That sounds good.
It's delicious with my wiener dog cup.
Oh. Check out
I saw fancy schmancy. You bringing some of those Daytona or no?
No, I just got this one made just to see how Teespring did with them.
Okay.
But now Katie and Ellie want one, so.
Good.
I don't know. Like, me and Brats are wanting to, delve into the feeder thing a little bit. How serious we'll get with it, I don't know. I think we're like right now we need to sort of expand and do more than what we have. And I think between Chris and some of the other guys that expressed interest, eventually down the road if we can figure out shipping with dry ice and all that stuff, then maybe we'll be able to start shipping and just do like small batch where we have like a limited number of customers. You know, I don't know, kind of just seeing where it goes.
Yeah, man. I know I'd get stuff from you.
Sort of our spiel being, you know, really focusing on what goes into the rodents. You know, I want to start getting, I need to start getting like a vegetables and stuff and fruits and sort of throwing it to them and letting them eat on those on top of like the nuts and the seeds and the hays and the, you know, the rodent diet that I use, which is the FRM stuff. I don't know. I just think that it's just they need to be eating more than just rodent block, but
yeah,
I don't like that's it's the rodent pellet is perfect for when they run out of the other stuff.
Yeah,
and that it's there for them.
A bona fide filler.
Because they burn through that nut and seed blend bird seed that we use. And it's funny to see what they don't like because they'll leave like whole hazelnuts and stuff completely untouched. So
that's good, man. And I also like it's good to do the block too in the sense of like, let's say you and Katie go out of town for a week, you know, with Ellie, and the three of you guys are going to be gone, you know, Monday to Sunday kind of thing.
Cannon. If it ain't shot at a tree, I don't want it.
Nice. That's good. Thanks, Casey. It's good that, like, let's say halfway through the week, if, you know, Brats had to run by and just dump some block,
right?
You know, it's good.
And I mean, I don't go there daily and check on them. So typically, like, we'll clean. Me and Brats now clean on Sundays. Sunday mornings, that's what we do. We run to the gas station, get our bangs or monsters, and head on out to the farm. And so then we, like, it's so much faster with two people, though. Oh, my God. Like, it used to take me, if I was really moving, I could get it all done in an hour.
Right.
But now, like, he's here, and it's literally, like, 30 minutes, if that. Because he'll start on one thing, I'll start on the other, and we'll just bam, 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 knock it out. So
nice.
That's been really nice. But, yeah, I don't know. Because, I mean, we definitely need to expand, like, what I have currently will do fine for, you know, me and Jake, but anything beyond that, probably not so much. So planning to dump some money into that at some point here soon. And then, I mean, I vacuum seal everything, like it gets frozen. They get frozen first before they get bagged. That's the big thing. It's like I freeze them and then they get vacuum sealed. I make sure I get any of the shavings or the crap or anything on them, because I hate it when I thaw out some ice and I've got a bunch of just debris and crap floating around in there. That drives me nuts. So I make a pretty concerted effort to make sure none of that's happening when I'm doing this. So,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, shipping with dry ice seems to be like there's a handful of hoops to kind of jump through, but it seems like UPS is probably the place to go when it comes to that, because they seem a little more lax than FedEx does.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll see. So
yeah,
just kind of just like with the podcast, sort of just seeing what happens and where it goes. I think we'll probably start selling local or, you know, regional, I guess, if people are willing to meet us up and buy enough, then kind of go from there. So we'll see. I'm trying to figure out a way to change up the way I'm making my income so I can cut back my hours a little bit at work and be around a little more, and, you know, so.
Yeah, you figure if you and Brats bang out all the rodents, let's say you have double what you have now, right? And it still takes you 2 hours soup to nuts with, let's say, euthanizing and freezing and vacuum sealing, whatever. You still have the whole rest of the day, and in theory, you're still making your money, you know? Right. So that little supplemental income, right?
I just ashed. Damn it.
It happens to the best of us.
God, I hate that. Damn you, Placencia. So that's kind of what's happening in the world. I mentioned that we went to Black Box on Monday and grabbed our racks. They are phenomenal. The rack sat in my garage for the week until yesterday when Brats helped me get everything together, and we melted holes into all the V70 tubs and got the room rearranged, got 2 of the big cages out. So it's just, I'm tired of rearranging, but it's pretty much done for the most part now. And I got the XT4 from Black Box switched over from the Tannenbar to now the Jansen Eye with the UV and everything like that too. So
Cool.
it was a busy day. Literally, like, I think we got done at like 5 with everything. So
Nice. It's a good day, man. It's a good day when you get fully productive, you know, especially when you're like doing it with your friend, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I felt bad because it was my only day off and I didn't get to see Katie much. But, you know, it is what it is. They can't all be zingers. So not every day off can be exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. 100%.
Daytona is happening, man. I'm so freaking stoked to get down there.
Yeah, man.
We still have some logistical stuff we need to figure out, I guess, when we're done as far as scheduling and when we should be aiming to arrive down there.
Well, I have to, as far as things go, for me, Anna Maria and I are going to be driving up Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm attempting to make a delivery of some snakes to a friend on the way. So that realistically should put me in Daytona in the mid to late afternoon. So I'm going to talk to Billy and find out if he's still at the hall. If he's still at the hall, I'm going to go right to the hall, and then I'll just set up the magazine booth. I mean, if you and Jake aren't even there, it's no big deal, man. It's like 2 things, you know?
Well, check-in isn't until like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, but that's I never listened to that. I mean, Matt and Jamie,
I'm just saying, we don't have to get up at the crack of dawn to rush there. Like, it's going to be kind of, we can leave 10 a.m., whatever, be there by
correct. Yeah.
3 or 4 and be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Where I'm going is probably about 45 minutes to an hour away. So I figure if we leave at, say, 9 a.m., 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, I should be there around 3:30, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll, like I said, if Billy's at the hall setting up still, excuse me, then I'll just join him. And if you guys are there, great. If you're not, no worries. I'll throw up the banner and all that stuff with him. And then Thursday night, we're doing whatever. And then Friday, I mean, it would just be finishing touches setting up. But realistically, Friday's kind of a free day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, man. What was I gonna say? Damn. Yeah, like bring in. So I have Billy's Colignathus. So like that is like the one thing that does get kind of frustrating with Daytona is if you have snakes with you, then you have to like hunt down the person, get their room key, go to the hotel, find their room, drop it off, go back down, find them again, give them their key back. Like, but I guess I could also just keep it at the table. I guess.
Yeah, it's no big deal, you know. Depends on what it is. Yeah, I know the hotel does not say, yes, you may bring animals into the hotel.
It's implied.
But if they see you wheeling in a cart full of deli cups, they're not going to freak out.
Right. It's funny. So open carry just got passed in South Carolina recently. Right. And our Walmarts immediately now have a sign on the door that says, please kindly refrain from open carry weapon. So it's like, we'd prefer you didn't, but because we can't tell you not to. Yeah. Can you just not?
Yeah. There's always that guy.
I don't, it's legal in Georgia and I never see it. I've never seen anybody open carry in Georgia, in Savannah or anything like that.
And you know what it is too, is that there's always people that live in a state that does allow open carry. There are people doing it. They're just subtle about it and don't draw attention to themselves. And therefore most people don't even notice it, with the exception of our waitress in West Texas.
Yeah.
So, Brandon Valentine wants to know, what are you guys on the lookout for while down there? Well, for me, it's up there, but thank you for asking. I don't know, man. I always say the same thing every year. It's got to be something that slaps me in the face. You know what I mean? I don't want to find something that's like, yeah, I could have bought that whenever. For me, it's got to be something that I'm looking for, or something that bona fide is like, wow, I got to take
Gotta have it. Take my money.
Gotta have it. Yeah. Waste no time. And I'm done doing the whole, I'm going to walk around and look a little bit. No. If I want it and I have the money, I'm buying it. Because how many times I've walked away from the table, even if it was for like 10 minutes, and I come back and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's just, I hate that feeling. It's the worst feeling.
It's a little different because you get the exclusive sneak preview because we're vending.
But here's the thing, though. I've learned this. Yes, a lot of cool stuff can be acquired and seen on the Friday. And that's why in the past, I don't know if they still do this, they used to offer a table price ticket to individuals who wanted to come in on Friday. So I don't know if they're still doing it, but you used to be able to pay
easy money.
The price for a whole table, and that lets you come in on Friday. But remember, only 50% of the people that are vending are really going to be done setting up Friday. A lot of them don't show up till late because they're traveling, because of flat tires, God forbid, or whatever. So, you're there all day Friday, and you may not see the vendor you're looking for. You may not see the species you're looking for. However, if you do get on Friday, that is usually a perk. Now, some vendors are also, and part of me gets annoyed by it, but the other part of me commends them for this, is that they know that the vendors are going to get first pick, as we say, right? So they won't sell to vendors. They'll say, look, I'll honor you a vendor price, or I'll hold it for you till tomorrow or whatever, but I'm not selling any animals on Friday. And like, I commend that, but at the same time, it's kind of
goofy. It's like,
it's kind of goofy.
The 12 hours makes that much of a difference.
Well, I feel like they want people to have first crack at it. Maybe you'll forget. Maybe you'll get preoccupied. Maybe you'll be late. Who knows? So, I don't know. I get it.
So I'm telling myself that I'm very specifically looking for either a visual hypo Baird's or a female or a het hypo Baird's.
Okay.
Like, that's at the top of the list right now. Because I have 2 males. I would like a girl. I'm sure there's going to be a corn or something I'm going to see that I'm going to end up going home with. But it's kind of the usual, like, Baird's corns, and then I don't know. I mean, there's nothing else I really need. So,
well, Jimmy Ranbolt, forgive me if I butchered your name.
Jimmy
says always go for supplies. Love the animals. Leave the animals, but always go for the supplies. I am in dire need of a Vivarium Electronics thermostat because I am very biased, and that's what I want. So I'm definitely going to be hitting that first. I'm going to definitely go to the book guy or book people, I should say, and try and get me at least 1 or 2 books and not blow my entire Daytona wad on literature. I'm going to keep my eye out for Arizona Mountain Kings, if there are some that are what I'm looking for. Maybe a male Darwin, if I can find the right one. It's got to complement my female perfectly. But yeah, other than that, I really have a hard-on for Angolans right now, but I think I'm going to just wait and buy my time and get some I want to get one from Terry, and I want to get one from Brett. And I think that just in time, whether it be next year or whatever, but I made that decision recently. So
I also rodent breeder tubs with the wire lid. I think me and Jake are going to kind of look for some of those because those things are not cheap. So if I can find some that are in decent shape that I can just disinfect and take back home, that'd be perfect.
Sure.
And then I have a hobby stat, a Vivarium Electronics hobby stat, that the probe, one of the wires in the probe got pulled out of the little like phone jack looking thing.
Yeah.
So I need to get a replacement for that. And I was looking at those online today, and I think I might just wait to see if there's any at the show, possibly just some spare probes or something.
Yeah, I'm sure
a little cheaper. So
yeah, I'm sure somebody's gonna have it. I'm also excited for Venom Life Gear is going to have a whole new line of products. Everything from, I don't want to give away too much. Am I allowed to say some of this stuff?
I wouldn't.
Okay, I won't do it.
I'll just say they're going to have a bunch of new stuff that
they're going to have a bunch of really, really cool stuff. And Justin and I are going to try and pull some strings to maybe have some of that stuff
models
to show it off at the venue.
Big old American poster children models.
Oh, yeah. And dude, it's so awesome when you have a brand that you really stand behind. Like there's no sponsorship with us. Like they don't pay us to say this stuff. We love the guys doing it. We love the materials that they're making, the designs they're making, whether it be the ingenuity and ergonomics in their animal handling equipment, or it's just the softness of a t-shirt, you know? So
I do need to get my field hook from Woody. I need to probably text him before this week and see if he can bring one down, because I bought one and haven't gotten it yet. They've been busy. They've ended a lot. I don't think people realize just how much traveling they do. So
they've been cranking. So, but that's gonna be awesome. And yeah, man, I'm just excited.
Just hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, seeing everybody. You know, it's pretty awesome because
I'm ready to get freaking nicotine poisoning.
Right? So many people have messaged me, "Hey, I'm going. This is my first time," or "Hey, I'm going, and now we know each other, so we should definitely say hello." Like that's awesome. You know, I think it's exciting. It really is. You know, and I hope everyone can go, and I hope that everyone just has a great show, regardless if you buy anything, regardless if you make any money. Well, hopefully you make money if you're vending, but you know what
I mean. Some blue beauties. Miguel's shooting for 2023.
Nice. Optimistic. Hey, and that goes back to our topic for tonight.
It does.
So
I figured with the corn stuff, like Jake's been jumping into colubrids. I've been jumping into colubrids more. But I still have the chondros. Still got the other stuff. I know you have some things. And we really haven't really talked about it a whole lot, and I'm kind of bummed Billy couldn't join us tonight because he'd be a really good person to talk about this with. But like sticking with a line, like sticking with not necessarily a line, just a project. You know, finding like the focusing in on something. You know, and as far as like breeding ambitions and whatnot,
and not even breeding. I mean, I knew that when you proposed the idea of tonight's topic to me about, you know, your future endeavors, your future projects, the first thing that comes to mind is your breeding projects, right? But it doesn't have to be a breeding project. And Justin and I are going to dive into this, I'm sure. But let's talk about, too, your enclosure projects. Mm-hmm. You know, your snake room, whatever it may be, your living room. However you're going to, you know, the decor and constructing and do-it-yourself stuff. So I was very excited when you brought this topic up to me today, because I feel like all of us have our own facets of that. And it's not just, oh, what am I going to produce? But at the same time, it's having those goals and doing everything in your power to achieve them.
Well, it's a matter of having the you know, looking downrange and really eyeing a target, even if you're a few, you know, years away from it or anything like that, like having an end goal. You know, like right now, the corn thing for me, I'm not exactly sure outside of the locality stuff that I have, like with the morphs that I have now. You know, I'm trying to sort of think about where I want to go with those, what I want to do, what do I want to focus on in particular, color wise, pattern wise, that kind of stuff. And I've been talking to Chris a pretty good bit about it. Because it's just hard, man. There's just so many cool combinations and stuff. It's so hard. It's. I feel for people that are just like what I've said with ball pythons, like just coming into the morph thing. It's like, where do you start? The paradox of choice is so real. It's like, how do you pick something and stick with it? It's tough.
Yeah. I know you were just mentioning about someone who produced a book on corn morphs.
Yeah.
You want to bring that up real quick?
So that's actually going to be the book review in the next issue, because I bought both of them. But Sarah Moore at Sarah's Snake Shop, she has two. Let me see. I'll bring them up, actually.
And by the way, do you want that article that I wrote last month for this month?
Yes.
Okay.
Things are a little squirrely at the moment with content, and I was expecting a handful of people, and I've yet to get anything. So could be coming in on the 11th hour, but we'll see.
We'll make up for it.
Let's see. So Sarah wrote Corn Snake Cultivars Volume 1, Histories of Base Mutations, and then she did Volume 2, which is Effects of Selective Breeding, which is sort of more just goes a little more in depth as far as the other morphs and stuff that are available currently. I want to say she's working on a third one right now, but I bought both of them, and they're awesome. I mean, it literally, like, it's just the right amount of information about each of the main morphs in Volume 1, you know, to where it's not dragging on, but you feel like you got all the information you need as far as like just the simple synopsis of it. And then the second one is just building upon that first book and explains sort of the combinations of some of those base morphs and how those have become like a second tier base of sorts. So very cool. Highly recommend them. I think they're $17.99 each right now.
Nice.
I think together they make up, I think Chris said they make about 94 pages. And I don't even know what that one's all about. I think I had that book at one point. I don't anymore.
Did you throw that up or did I throw that up?
You threw that up.
My apologies. I did not mean to.
Sorry.
Oh, there it goes. I did not. I pushed the wrong button, but I was going to bring that up too. So this book, I bought this book, probably in 2006. And at the time, there was a crap load of morphs. And now I can't even imagine how many there are now. But if you can't get a hold of the book that Justin's talking about, which is obviously the most comprehensive, the most up-to-date, if you happen to see this book in your local pet shop, the Corn Snake book from Kathy Love, like this book is a timeless classic. Manual,
the original.
Yeah, it's a timeless classic and definitely worth $17. You know.
But that's exactly why I got Sarah's books, because I think the first one she released in, when was that? Let's see. I think it was like 2018, maybe.
Okay.
2018. So, like, I've heard the two books she has out right now, I think, are the most up to date that we have currently. And obviously, the second volume of that is going to be a little more so than the other one. Get my screen thing together. So that's the reason I got hers, because there was stuff. Some of the morphs that I was curious about myself, you know, there's some that are kind of confusing, like mask and stuff like that. And I've been so out of the loop with morphs and corns and stuff that I needed a pretty serious education on where things are at currently. So
yeah, I remember there was albino, there was motley, there was anery, amel,
ghosts.
There was ghosts. I think there was lavender at some point.
Lavenders are kind of few and far between it when they kind of first started.
And I think popular. That was it, man.
Blood reds. I think charcoals were a thing, but weren't really a thing yet. Sunkissed were probably still a thing.
I never heard of Sunkissed.
That's that came from some of Kathy Love's animals. Like this weird hypo-ish looking animal popped out. And now, like, you throw Sunkissed into stuff, and it just does really wacky things, man. It's actually pretty interesting.
Nice.
But just the fact that there's still, you go on VMS Herp, they've got stuff for sale that's, $500. Like, there's still things that, like, there's still a lot of ground to cover as far as corn combinations go. So, I don't know. It's just figuring out what I want to do with those as far as the morphs. Because originally I was like, I'm going to tie these into the locality stuff, which I still want to.
Right.
And that kind of segs into another thing in a second. But so like locality stuff is going to be sort of at the top as far as focus goes and what I want to reproduce the most of. But then I want to tie the morph stuff into that and see what happens. But then I also want to start doing some combinations of stuff like opposite ends of the spectrum, trying things out and seeing what happens. As far as morphs go and colors. So that's one of those things where I think Jake was giving me a hard time about it. And I was like, yeah, I want to tie this, Tessera honey that I got from JT at Silent Hill Reptiles into the locality stuff just to see what happens. But my point was, like, Billy Hunt does a really good job of that. So he does the Carpondros. So he still has his core group of like Petersons and stuff that he's doing with carpets that is pure and
right.
and clean. But then he's like, I have a spare male chondro, a spare female carpet. I want to do Jack Bondos. I'm going to do that. So I'm thinking that's sort of the, like, still do the pure stuff, but also like have the extra wiggle room on the side with numbers and whatnot to be able to play around a little more. So
sure. Especially when you have, one male that, maybe you start breeding it with the locality stuff in the beginning of season, and then give them a slight break, and then throw them to a morph or two morphs, towards the end of season. Break it up a little bit if you can.
And I mean, even then, like all the stuff that I've gotten that's morph related, it's all still small. Like we're going to be looking at another 2 or 3 years before anything happens with those. So it's just going to be locality stuff for the next 2 or 3 years. Unless I get my hands on some adult stuff, which I usually tend not to for whatever reason. Like buying adults that are just kind of ready to go, outside of green trees, doesn't really appeal to me all that much. Like I don't, unless it's something that's just like really unique, like you were saying when you're shopping at the show, something that's just got to have it right now, like no questions asked. I don't know. We'll see. So, but like pursuing sort of a single project and seeing it through, locality corns, I think are a good example. Like those aren't worth a lot of money, but I'm completely okay with that because we've seen what line breeding does with, South Carolina corn snakes, and I want to see what happens with the ones that I have in my collection. So
right.
That's something I want to stick with.
And when it comes down to brass tacks, like, the money's cool, but we do it because we love this stuff. We like to see it go full circle. We like the experience of pairing animals and the miracle of egg-born life. So. It's good.
I think it's sort of almost like leaving a sort of a legacy behind. Like you look at Abbott, like Abbott line corns are incredible.
Yeah.
If I see Abbott line anything in a mix as far as genetics go, I get a little excited because it's like those are some of the best looking corn snakes in the history of corn snakes.
Yeah.
So if there was a day, and I'm not like shooting for this specifically or that being the only reason I want to do this, but to have something that you can call like I spent a decade plus refining that and working on it and like holding back a ton of animals trying to figure out which one plugs in best to this, like the vision that I have in my head for way down the road. Like it'd be cool to have something that goes back to me where people are like, oh yeah, Justin did that however many years ago. And
remember Old Man Smith?
Yeah.
Old Man Smith used to live on that house on the other side of the island. Man, he bred the best corn snakes in the world.
There's just something wholesome about pure corn snakes, man. I don't know what it is. It's like
quintessential Americana.
Like I see those babies and those babies that I ended up after everything was said and done, I have 2.2 left that I'm holding back for me. So Jake got a pair. One went to JT, and then Joe Rosa won a voucher in an auction for my stuff, and he ended up just getting a pair out of that. So
cool.
It works out, but it's just to see those things and the color they're at already, even being only like 2 sheds in. It's just like I want to fast forward and see where these things go. I don't know if I have any like decent ones.
It's all right.
You want me to text them to you?
Or just throw them on the screen. Oh, you have to, text
They're
them.
on my phone.
Yeah, text them to me. Excuse me.
Let's see. There's one. I need to take some like updated ones. They're feisty little things, man.
Good.
And they're all eating like monsters. Well, most of them are eating like monsters.
Did Jake take his home or no?
Yeah, he did. He got his rack all set up and everything. He took his home yesterday, actually. No. Was it yesterday? I think it might have been. I don't know. He has them. So.
All right, there we go. Let's get these up on the screen.
Yeah.
All right. Look at that, man. Look at that checkerboard. And you can just tell that's going to pop white so well.
Yeah, they came out really dark, like the whole clutch. You know, it was just. I was wondering if they were just going to remain dark, but that first shed, it was like, oh my god, and then that second shed, it was like, oh my god, like it's not. It ain't. It's fading fast. Like they're coloring up real nice. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm super curious to see how they progress and how they turn out.
I love this little sunset patch up in here.
That little rainbow on the neck.
Yeah.
Rainbow bridge.
Good, man. Good saddles, good clean like legit saddles, not just blotches. It's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's good looking babies.
Here. I'll send some of the morph stuff too.
Yeah, please do. I actually, so I got a Palm Beach County corn that I caught as a juvenile that wasn't looking so hot. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this thing home. I'll get some meals in them. Why not have a pet corn snake? And when I took him home, he threw up 3 brown anoles. And I got him eaten, and it's been like maybe 4 or 5 months now. And it turned out he's a boy. And he died today, actually.
Oh, that's
and I don't understand why. And I mean, who knows? Maybe the parasite load got too much for him. I did not deworm him just because I wanted him to get established first, and maybe it just caught up to him. But I also have a Miami phase that Marcus found for me in Miami, and I don't really care for the Miami phase. I mean, I appreciate it for what it is. It's definitively Florida, you know. But it just never did anything for me. Dude, the more I play with that snake, the more I feed that snake, the bigger that snake gets, the more I just like it. And so now I have to find an appropriate boyfriend. She's a girl. I have to find an appropriate boyfriend for her from Miami. And I think that is, again, another project that I would definitely like to do. Even if I give the babies away, I got to do it because it's Florida, man.
See, I kind of feel the same way about the Miami stuff. What's funny is some of the stuff that people are tying Miami into morph wise is really interesting.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
So I sent you those first 2 pictures that I just sent you, or that's the little female from Chris.
Oh, hold on. I did not get this picture. Hang on. Well, look at that little guy all essed up.
Yeah, man.
Let's share this. Hold on. Screen share window. All right. Dude, that's too cute, man.
One bit me on the pinky the other night. I was holding it, cleaning its cage, and I guess I twitched my pinky and it just whacked it.
Awesome.
That's the little female Tessera from Chris.
And see, that doesn't even, like, to me, I imagine more geometric shapes when I think Tessera. Like, that is a total dorsal line.
Well, let me see. She is from a ultra male motley Tessera to a ghost Tessera, and the sire's also het anery. So she's got a lot going on.
Dude, very cool.
Het ultra male, het motley, het hypo, het anery.
That's not the same animal, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Just better lighting.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. You're outside with that one?
That's the picture Jake took.
Okay, cool.
Because Chris shipped it to Jake with all his stuff.
Oh, nice.
That's a little male I got. He's het sun-kissed.
So there you go. You saying about the sun-kissed getting put in there. You can tell that even as small as this animal is, look how much like bright highlighter is coming through.
Yeah, that one's gonna age really nice, and that one I have planned for one of the local females I have, who's also got the heavy, thick borders. That's one thing I want to kind of play with is the borders on the saddles and really seeing how thick and heavy I can get those.
It almost looks like a milk snake, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
He came from crystal colubrids, who were nothing but pleasant to deal with.
I don't know why that's still spinning. But oh, I got 2 imagers that didn't come through. Sorry. Looks like the link was broken or something. But here, we'll show this guy. This little caramel-looking beauty. Screen share.
Bing, bing. That's that same female Tessera.
You're kidding.
Orgene. Nope, same female.
Wow, man.
Isn't that
What a
crazy?
dynamic and lighting.
Yeah.
That looks like a completely different animal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how clean just some of those stripes are and whatnot. And
That's awesome. Whoops.
that was I think Lewis made that.
Oh, jeez. So now I have to go to Miami and find a Miami male.
Like this guy has Miami in him. That honey tessera.
Nice. You know what? Let me go get that female. I gotta show her off.
And this is the female anery. That also came from JT. I like that she's got like that pale head. I don't know. It's a sort of an exciting new frontier of sorts to sort of come back to, I guess is the best way to say it. It's been so long since I've been in it. I'm so clueless with a lot of it. Let's see. So between those and the Bears and the Diones and stuff, I think I got plenty of stuff to keep me busy until chondros are ready again. And yeah, I also think corns are sort of, they've been on a very slow sort of comeback. Like it's been slowly ramping up each year, and now I think it's really starting to get to that point where it takes off. There he is. I think corns do beat balls.
So this is her, and she is absolutely livid. She's striking and peeing and doing
very angry.
All the things corn snakes do. But the belly is super unique.
Yeah, it is. A lot more sort of chaotic and the twitch. Yeah.
Look at that belly.
That's interesting.
Sides. Oh, she just pooped all over my laptop. Nice.
Do you find that the other corns that you like in that area have that same thing going on with the belly?
No, not at all. There's checkerboard, and then there's like somewhat like this, but only the Miamis really have this. And I've found Miamis as far north as North Palm Beach, or like South Palm Beach, Mid Palm Beach. But oh, dude, you are just going crazy on my it's everywhere. But
that's a good little corn.
She's definitely gonna get kept. It's everywhere. Oh God. Oh, stop. I love you. Just love me back.
She says, I'll give you a hug, all right.
Just incredible coloration.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me put her away before I get more poop on my laptop.
They're cool snakes. It's a great species to sort of just tinker around with and see what you can do. I'm hoping that this UV and the new setup helps convince the Jansenii to make some eggs happen. I'm going to start misting them a little heavier and see if that plays a factor in it. So I don't know. We'll see. I put my little camera out to watch them to see if they've been basking under the UV at all today, and I really didn't see them much, but they're probably still trying to figure out exactly where they are compared to, the 8 inches below where they were originally. So, but I say Billy was a good good person to talk to about the whole like sticking with the project thing, because Billy's like, he has his stuff that he's laser focused on, and I think he's a good example of that very thing. And I guess Jake with his IJs and stuff too. You know, even though he's he's pulling back on those a little bit. Even with the colubrid stuff he's got, I think he kind of knows exactly what he wants and what he wants to reproduce, and he's honing in on it like a angry falcon.
I'm wiping the urates off of my headphone cord. Ugh. Everywhere.
So I don't know. I gotta message Chris real quick. I have to get security clearance before I discuss anything. Did you get it figured out? You settled?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a disaster.
You all situated?
Yeah, and you know, like when they shoot those urates out, it's like gritty.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just like grit everywhere.
Like sandy.
Yeah, sandy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Why are you doing that to yourself?
It's the smell of victory.
Disgusting.
I'm kidding. I wash my hands. I gotta check my coffee, make sure she didn't arc me in there. You know, they do that like, pinwheel thing.
Yeah, man, that's how the bears are. I've got a few that if I touch them, it's just like an explosion. Like it almost rockets them into the air, like propulsion, like rocket jet propulsion. It's insane.
Oh, colubrids. Gotta love them.
So when we were recording Thursday, I got a message from a guy asking about the Diones that I had.
Right.
And he actually is the one who Loftman got them from.
Okay.
And he was saying that Siberian pair that I have are, as far as he knows, the only Siberian Diones in the country.
Really?
I don't know how accurate that is.
Okay, so let's rewind. So
they're not anything. They're not any different than any other Diones. It's from a different. Their range is massive.
Right. So let's rewind.
I just thought it was interesting.
Did Doc say that they were Siberian, or is this guy saying it?
It's no. Doc did too.
Okay.
This is the guy that Doc got them from.
Oh, okay.
I guess came across me on Instagram, saw those Diones, said those look really familiar. Are those the ones you got from Zach? And I said yes. And he's like, oh, I sold him those. You know, this is X, Y, and Z.
So where did
that
he
baby?
Get them from?
They were European imports, I think is what he told me. Let me look it up.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
He said he got them from me, and I got them from a breeder in Europe. Did you get all the locality info with them? As far as I know, those Amur individuals are the only ones in the country. I still have some unrelated Beijings that look pretty different from yours, from a different source. Thought it might be good to make contact in case either of us wants to add new blood in the future. So.
Excellent. Now, what has Doc Messenger said about it?
I don't know. I sent him pictures of the Siberians, and he said they look pretty standard to him as far as like Chinese stuff.
Okay.
But then I have that Beijing female that looks very different from the other two.
Right.
So I don't know. And then the baby that came from that lone Beijing female was bred to that male Siberian. So that one is like a cross as far as localities go.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting. Thought it was cool.
Very.
Those are neat snakes.
It's always neat to get this backstory, you know.
So I got a 6-tier V70 rack from Black Box.
Cool.
And then I had one of Jake's 3-tier V70 equivalents. It doesn't have actual V70 tubs, but it's got a tub that's more or less the same dimensions. It might be a little shallower. And so I had technically 9 V70s. But Jake was super worried about me plugging in the heat to that 3-tub rack of his, because he's like, dude, that tape's really old. Like, there's a bunch of dust in there. It might be a fire hazard. And so we were rearranging the room, and I was like, well, wait a second. I have the 3 adult Diones. They don't need heat. So I'll just put them in that 3-tier tub and just not plug them in. They'll be good to go. So it worked out perfect.
Okay. Well, good stuff.
That's the first I've heard of that. Vic says use shaving cream. He said he hears it gets the odor out, which I have not heard before.
Sorry, I was just cleaning stuff off my computer.
Like a grenade.
Right? A musk grenade. All right, so that goes back to talking about projects and goals. So now you have your Ladies Island locality stuff, your Southeast South Carolina. You've got some morph stuff that you're going to assimilate that and augment that into it. And then you've also got your Siberian locality Diones, which is super cool. And then we segue into Bairds as well.
Well, that's what you were talking about when we first started, was it doesn't even necessarily have to be breeding.
Right.
Like, I love Bairds, and I have a habit of just buying Bairds when I see them at shows. Whether I breed or not, for whatever reason, I'm just like, I need another one. Why not? You know? So this year I'm trying to fix that. It's like, if I see more Mexicans, I'll grab them. If I see a female hypo, be it visual or het, doesn't matter what age. I mean, even if I did find an adult female, that actually wouldn't be bad, because my adult male is going to be ready to go. So, I don't know.
Well, so that goes to everyone who's been listening to this show knows about my Everglades Rat Snake Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going on about 2 years now, and I'm still empty-handed. So one of the guys who used to be a invasive field collector for underground. Now he has a normal job, but he still keeps and breeds a lot of stuff. And he always would find the coolest glades rats.
We'll definitely see you this weekend, Mike.
Yeah, man. Have a good night, Mike. And somebody said, hey, his name's Chris. He's like, Chris is selling a pair of glades rats. Didn't you still want them? And I was like, yeah, but I really want to just find my own. I want to catch my own. I want to find a small enough juvenile or a baby that I can raise up and have the full experience. I know exactly where that animal came from, what road, what county, whatever. That's just I want that for myself. But this kid, I honestly trust. If he says it came from this road at this time of day, I believe him. And he sent me these pictures.
I mean, it's also kind of a goofy thing to lie about in the first place.
Well, but a lot of field herpers will definitively do that because they don't want you to go and steal their spot. And they'll say, oh, no, this is, Fort Lauderdale. And you'll be like, oh, really? Okay, cool. And then you realize that there are none in Fort Lauderdale. You know what I mean? So first, before he offers me the pair, he shows me Fort Lauderdale. He shows me this. And I got so excited. He sends me that.
Oh,
my. And I'm like, whoa.
Those are like the Brahms caliber.
Exactly. Those are Brahms caliber.
Ooh.
So
wait, what?
I said, I didn't ask him how much. I just said, I'll take it. And he's like, no, that's not for sale. That's my breeder male that I'm going to keep forever. He says, but this is the road I found it on. Go here. And I was like, okay. So
kind of messed up that he would send you a picture.
Right. Well, that's what I said. It was a super duper tease. So he did give me the road. So after Daytona, I'm going to spend every night that I can going to this freaking road and hopefully don't get kicked off by cane farmers, right?
How far is it from you?
That's the thing. It's actually closer than where I've been going. It's like an hour closer than where, right? So technically, I've been looking in Hendry County because that's where Brahms are from. That's where everyone says the best ones come out of Hendry. This is Palm Beach County. This is my county. So it's a lot closer than I imagined. It's still a hike. It's still about an hour drive.
Palm Beach County that I've ever seen any wild ones that bright.
And here's the thing, man. So you can see in the little corner where it says live on our thing, or even like the YouTube red coloration. Dude, we used to find them that color red down in like Collier County and even down to Monroe County. That they were blood red, bright fire engine red, and not anymore. And I really feel like that's because they're forced to integrate with normal yellows. That's a whole other topic for another time. But after he told me about the road and everything else, it's then he sent me this picture.
Hey, speaking of the devil, there's JT.
Hey, what's up, sir?
We were just singing your praises.
So this is the female.
That's still a good-looking snake, though.
That's still a good-looking snake. And he says it is ugly because it's in the tub. He says
I believe it.
The desk lamp that he was using for lighting is not doing the snake justice. That snake is currently gravid. And he says the minute it lays its eggs, it's mine. And that's its boyfriend. Nice. Again, I think it's got a lot of potential. I really like how light it is in here, and it still has some light on the nose.
See, I like the sort of the still having the definitive stripes.
Yeah,
I like that.
But it's got to be that faded. Like, dude, I mean, look at the first one.
Almost like someone took a pencil and kind of just gently sketched it on there.
Just etched that shading, right? You know, and then just that nice. But
I think the difference, like if you had pulled those other two snakes outside and took an outdoor picture like that, you'd probably get similar results. Like it's so frustrating now to take pictures inside. So now any chance I get, if I can go outside before work, you know, not before the sun just comes beating down on my driveway, but when there's still some cover and whatnot and softer lighting, man, so many more colors come out in those chondros. Me and Jake were just talking about that yesterday. Like, he even said with the stuff he got from Chris that he was taking pictures of, you know, he's like, you know, the albinos, you can't even fully appreciate them until you get them out and you see just you get so much more detail and like clarity.
Yeah.
And so now, like I said, it's just, I gotta get them outside and get pictures that way because I feel like you're not like, even with the Bairds, like indoors, they're like, yeah, like my adult pair that, you know, not the Loma Altas, but the quote unquote Mexicans.
Right.
They don't look like anything special, but if I get them outside, man, that gunmetal towards the back half really comes out more, and it just naturalized the way to go.
Yeah. So as soon as that female drops her clutch, he's going to basically make sure she's okay, get maybe one meal in her, and then they're mine. So even if I can't find my own, I think I'll get them. At least I'll have a pair that I know where they came from. They both came from that same road. Now, they didn't come like same night or anything, but he also
same population, more or less.
Right. He also sent me this picture, just to prove to me that, you know, the road is an adequate road. He found these the same time he stopped his car. So he stopped his car. He went after the racer first, grabbed the racer, and then grabbed the two rat snakes. How great.
That razor's so pissed.
That razor's so pissed. But how great is that? You have an Everglades, you have a true yellow, and you got a black racer, and he caught them all at the same time.
Doesn't get much more Florida than that.
Like that is the Florida picture, you know? And he's a really tall, kind of skinny guy, so you know he's got a real long wingspan. So I could just imagine him walking down the side of the levee, you know, just arms stretched out like this, so he doesn't get nabbed by that racer. But man, like that's what it's about, man. I'm stoked. So even though I haven't found my own yet, which I know I will, at least I can get into the Everglades game that way. And again, future projects. And I know I'm not going to make that much money off of it or any money at all. Even if I never breed them, I have my quintessential Florida snakes. You know, that makes me happy. So You're muted.
I just realized that.
Yeah. What were you saying?
That racer wants to end someone's bloodline.
Yeah, that literally that razor, like the cracked open mouth.
Yeah,
it looks
that.
like thinks it's a Taipan, you know.
Dude, that's something the Jance and I do. Like
they crack their mouth.
The front half of their lips, quote unquote, touch, and then the back of their mouths they like open it up.
Yeah,
it's bizarre looking.
And Ryan Cox says the chemtrails also kill a lot of them, and I really do believe that. I believe that because of agricultural runoff, there is less and less snakes because there's less and less prey items to feast upon. And highways are horrible barriers for snakes. So maybe that's why everyone says Hendry County is the way to go, because there's less traffic. You know, there's more agriculture, less traffic. Who knows? But I'm excited.
I still want house snakes.
Dude, Billy's got some crazy house snakes. That was
forgetting he has those.
Dude, a side project that somebody was like, "Oh, you want some Capensis? Sure." And dude, his house snakes are textbook, bro.
Little pythons in colubrid form.
Yep. So yeah.
But what do you have other than those, than the glades that you're looking as far as like projects that you're?
So I have my Parafuscus, which I'm very excited about. I'm growing them slow. Despite them growing like weeds, I'm growing them slow. The girl is she's pushing well over 4 foot. The boy's probably 3 and change. And I'm just feeding them once or twice a month, a big meal, like once or twice a month. They're taking massive poop turds. And I need to get them a bigger enclosure is what I need to do. But that's a fun project for me because I've already decided that the species is so niche that only certain individuals appreciate them, and only certain individuals are willing to work with them because they're not the prettiest and they're kind of pains in the ass. I've got Queensland locality, they're super friendly. They're extremely food aggressive, but they're super friendly. My girlfriend plays with them. You know, I let anyone can pick them up and hold them. You just got to use a hook to get them out first. But I'm really excited because they're going to all go to friends. Whatever I produce, they're going to friends to just keep it going. You know what I mean? Just keep the Fuscus, the Queensland Fuscus going. I'm pretty sure they are clutch mates, so I'm not too happy about that. But if we can maybe get some other blood in there, you know, later on, rock and roll. You know, hey, what's up, Austin? I also have the Cerastes project. So between Marcus and I, we have 28 Cerastes. All different shapes and sizes, all different, patterns and textures. And some of them are completely tan. Some of them have definitive grayish blue saddles to them. And they're all the horned variety. So a lot of people don't realize this, but Cerastes have essentially different, I don't want to call it lineages, but depending on the locality or depending on that population of vipers, they don't grow horns. They're still the same species. They just don't grow that horn scalation. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, we are talking about the desert horned viper. I'm going to pull up a picture right quick so you guys can see what we're talking about. So this is Cerastes or Kerastes, the desert horned viper. And as you can see, they have devil horns, which is super cool.
Hail Satan, brother.
Hail Satan, brother. So this horn here is an actual scale. It's one solid scale. And when they actually shed the whole horn, and a new horn is underneath it. Just so we can get a better picture. There you go. That's a good one there. They are Saharan sand vipers. They range all the way from Mauritania across the Sahara all the way up into Egypt and the Sinai and well into Israel and northwestern Saudi Arabian Peninsula. So we have a bunch of different animals. They're all wild caught. And we're going to basically hold on to them for a while, see what's what, see what genders we have and ratios we have, and then try and do some captive breeding because these animals are brought in by the truckloads from Egypt, typically. And they have a very high mortality rate because people don't comprehend the extreme dynamics of their ecosystem. So you're looking at in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or in excess of 40 degrees Celsius during the day, and then bam, down to 60 degrees Fahrenheit at night. You also have peaks and valleys of humidity. So these animals are such a dry, arid, extreme desert species that humidity levels of 30, 35, 40% can be lethal to them. And I've actually had animals where it wasn't my animals, it was someone else's collection. They put water dishes in there, and within 24 hours, those animals were dead because the airflow wasn't consistent. The humidity rose too high. Maybe the sand got wet that they were in, and the sand, believe it or not, sand holds a ton of humidity. When people think of sand, they think of dry, dry, dry. It's not. When sand gets wet, it clumps up like kitty litter, and it turns into a big humid clump.
Holds bacteria really well.
It holds bacteria very well. So the biggest thing with them is extreme heat, low humidity, high ventilation, which is very hard to do in captivity because we want to contain things. We want to hold things in to keep that heat, and therefore it raises the humidity because there's poor ventilation. So it's a constant balancing act of that.
They're literally hard to keep because they're easy to keep.
Exactly. They're
so easy, it's hard.
They're so rugged that it's hard to maintain in captivity. So I've actually I've gotten pretty good at reading the animal. When I fill up my water jugs and my sprayers in my room, I'll see the Cerastes come to the glass, and they'll start to like tongue flick on the glass, and they can smell that fresh water. So what I'll do is, depending on how active they are, I'll soak them in like an inch of water for 20, 30 minutes, let them get a huge big gulp. I will then put them in a fresh thing of sand to dry them off, leave them in there for a little while, let all that sand, the wetness that's on them kind of get clumpy or dry or whatever, kind of like kitty litter, and then I'll put them back in their enclosure and let them actually dry off. But the ventilation is crucial, you know. So I have that project coming, and Marcus and I realized that that's a multi-year project, and we'll hopefully sell a few specimens to people maybe by the end of the year. We kind of see what we're doing and how we're working with it. What's JT saying?
I know exactly who he's talking about, and I completely agree. He said if you haven't seen them, check out Bushveld. I think their name is. They came from Africa and brought their collection over here.
Are those the folks that went to Rhode Island and sold P and Cody the venomous?
I don't know.
I think they might be them.
I know, like I've seen them, and they have some really interesting, cool stuff.
Yeah,
but I thought they were over there. I thought they were over in like South Africa or something. So didn't know they were over here, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's going to be a very interesting project, and then I also have my Rinkals project. So as of right now, I have it is 3.6 unrelated Rinkals. They are all of the banded variety. Some of them have more bands than others, and it's difficult to pinpoint locality, and I'm trying to work on this. I'm talking to some friends that live in South Africa and trying to figure out, but everyone always talks about with the Rinkals, they talk about the Kokstad, right? Oh, the Kokstad is the best. It's the most orange. It has the marbling and the bands. And, you know, Dingo made that video of him in the cow fields with the Rinkals on that brick wall. Amazing video. Whether you like Dingo or not, you know, that video of him in the cow fields with the spitters is just a phenomenal video. And he really does a good job of showing how they're not an aggressive species. It's purely defensive, as most, or if not all, reptiles are. But they're very intelligent, despite them being super derpy, if that makes any sense. They're constantly aware of their surroundings, which has made cage cleaning a total pain in the ass. But yeah, so I've got 3.6 of them now. I have some that are black with like lemonade yellow bands. I have other ones that are more of a sunset color. I have other ones that are kind of a bourbon hue with some bright oranges and yellows. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying this, because we're on Snakes and Stogies. We can show people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you some deli cup photos, and forgive me for deli cup photos, but this is literally the night that I got most of them. And that'll just make things easier because they're very hard to take photos of because they constantly want to spit in my face, which I do everything in my power to not have that happen. And so far, knock on wood, of all my animals, I've only been spat on twice. And it was on my arm because I had them focusing on my hand in the hook. Here is, let me see if there's audio so I can mute. Oh, it won't let me play the video because it says it's too high definition. Well, that's poopy. All right, hang on one second, folks. Forgive me.
Can you hear the gentle sounds of rain in the background?
Is that what that is? I don't know if you had your fan going.
I do have my fan going, but it is now raining.
So here is my yearling. So this was actually imported completely different than the other ones that I have. And I love this picture because he's just basking in the morning sun. You know, this
staring
photo
out his
is,
window, trying to figure out what he's going to do with his day.
He literally is staring at his windows, like figuring out what he's going to do with his day. And it was 8:30 in the morning. My lights in my room hadn't even turned on yet. And he's just sitting there looking out the window. And it wasn't until I put the camera, the cell phone, right up against the plexi or the plastic tub, that's when he opened his hood. So I just took that quick shot. But like that animal is just so impressive to me. And I know it's going to be at least another year or two before I breed him, but he's just an awesome looking animal, man. You know,
he's watching you.
He really is watching me. Well, he actually was looking out the window. But so here's a female, and that's a bad picture because she's hiding underneath the foam. But that's pretty much your traditional looking banded pattern. I believe that most of my animals are from an intergrade zone. And somebody who lives in South Africa is more than welcome to correct me and educate me. I welcome it wholeheartedly. But from what I gather, all those Kokstad animals, they're not actually from Kokstad because the banding that you're seeing in most of them is not indicative of that region of KwaZulu-Natal. Most of the animals that we call a Kokstad locality is actually from the eastern part of Eastern Cape province. And I believe that a lot of the animals like I have that have the lemonade coloration with the black, that is also another intergrade zone where the Eastern Cape meets Southern Gauteng, and where they're just jet black or slate gray. So you're getting the banding and the marbling, but you're having a higher black content, so to speak. So that's one of my females there. Why do I not have? Why is it not letting me? There we go. Okay. So there's another female. And like I said, like that lemonade coloration, you know, with the jet black head.
Yeah, that might be my favorite right there.
Yeah, she's a looker.
Just that contrast and the wider black too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really like that wide black. This kind of, you know, is kind of annoying, but it definitely gives character.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see where it's almost reversed, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yes, Brandon, they do look like weird-looking jungles. This is a male, I believe, and that eye cap actually came off on its own. So, but I like how this one has that white in there.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool. This is one of my favorite males, just straight up khaki and black. Yeah. So, and you can just see how rich and jet black that head is. That's another male. That one's cool. I like him. This has more of that, like a jungle jag, you know?
Yeah.
That real light. Yeah, almost like a zebra. So female. This is what you'd expect from Eastern Cape. Just bold bands, an ambery color or an amber gold color. That's a power drill.
It's okay. We know what that really is.
That's a step drill bit for drilling air holes. That's what that is. I was showing a friend. Let Let me find the video of my triumphant female, my African queen. Hang on a second. Oh, it won't let me play this. Why won't it let me play this? Oh, man. That's poopy. All right, well, you know what? You entertain them. I'm going to forward this to myself so that we can watch it.
Okay. So I want to talk about the thing that me and Chris are doing, but at the same time, I don't.
Okay.
Most because I don't have them in hand yet.
Okay.
But what should I do?
I mean, you can, if you can speak about it, man. We don't have to necessarily show it off. You don't have photos. You don't have photos. You can talk about projects that the show's all about. You know, upcoming future goals and endeavors.
Well, they're not supposed to ship until tomorrow.
Okay.
But me and Chris went in on the first and currently only available pair of 100% het Anery Bairds.
Yeah. I like it.
So, very excited about that. I wasn't even really initially, like, I didn't even want to ask the breeder about him, like them being what he had for sale, just because it was one of those things where I assumed they were probably super high and he wasn't going to let any go, but it actually turned out being, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
Right.
I asked just out of curiosity, and we made it happen. So that's going to be a pretty big deal.
Nice.
At least, I mean, they're Bairds, so no one cares about them still. But to
Don't
me,
say that.
it's important.
Don't say that. All right.
Everyone's just a bunch of jealous haters. Thank you, Austin. I want to get some stickers, Smith Farm stickers made. Other than I ordered just 2 from Teespring just to see how they'd come out, and they were all right. So I will get some more, and then I will be able to send them to whoever would like some stickers. Which then the head anery thing is another reason why I would like a female hypo Bairds, because I would like to tie that in eventually down the way. It's part of the grand scheme, the grand vision.
I like it. Sorry for my lack of attentiveness. I'm just trying to get these videos uploaded.
Unbelievable.
All right. So, share the screen. This is that one female.
Wow.
I love that photo. That photo was me trying to be sneaky and sliding the phone underneath the lid of the tub. And she just was staring right at the lens. And I was like, oh, snap that picture. So.
Well, what's funny, what's odd too, is like the top is matte, but the belly is glossy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And what's very interesting is they go through, I don't want to say like, it doesn't change hue like a chameleon, but a lot of the stomach scales are very high blue. And I actually, I've had a fair bit of these animals over the years, and it wasn't until I had one pass away and I was freezing it, and I noticed the stomach was completely turquoise. And it wasn't because of shed, it just happened to be that color. I may even actually have a picture of it. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of it. But so that's that one. And then this is actually the female that I plan to breed this upcoming winter. Hold on, let me switch this real quick. Forgive the videos. They had audio and it got messed up. That's her. And this cage is, again, some of the projects we're going to talk about in a few minutes. This cage will be planted with live grass. So I'm going to have live grass to match that background. But that background is actually from KwaZulu-Natal. A good internet friend, Lucas, down in South Africa, was kind enough to send me a couple images to make backdrops out of. So that's my big breeder female. Her name is actually Lemonade. This is also her, not happy with me. And all this pink coloration in the hood, that's actually light coming through the hood. So, and forgive my dirty glass, that's all spit from her. But I mean, it's such a light color of yellow that it's that pale lemonade, almost white.
How often do they play dead for you a lot?
I have never had one play dead in captivity. Which is honestly a terrifying thing because
the moment of the split second of heartbreak.
Well, I've had them pass away, and I have to wait a good while to make sure they're dead and not just playing dead, So this is a slow motion of it spitting at me. Boom.
Timber.
And they throw their body just such ferocity, and her sole goal is to make me go away. There's the venom she just spat. So I'll let that play one more time. Oof. She's so impressive. And her boyfriend is by far the best looking snake in the collection. But I can't get a picture of him to save my life. Yeah, Billy, she did put everything into that. So,
Austin wants to know if playing dead is a standard practice for that species.
It is 100%. So the Rinkals has multiple modes of defense. The first mode is flee. They will haul ass. Obviously, because they're short and stout, they don't fly like a racer. They also have keeled scales, so that makes it rather difficult for them to slide through vegetation rapidly.
More friction.
Yeah, way more friction. They growl like a king cobra. However, because they're not, 10, 13 foot long, it's nowhere near as ominous. But if you were walking through the bush and you started to hear that growl, you would be like, what is that? It almost sounds like I really can't emulate it, but it's like a deep purring sound. It's like imagine a cat purring, but with the whistle of a cobra. I can't do it. I tried.
I want to hear it.
It's like it's super low, but with that of the cobra, So that's their first thing, is to make that noise, is to flee, make that noise, and then if they're provoked in the wild, they almost always play dead, which is really bad for children and dogs and people that are living in rural areas, because a child or a dog sees it plays dead, and they go, "Oh my God, the snake's dead! Look, a dead snake!" They pick it up, and the minute they pick that snake up, wham, it latches onto it. And they're infamous for that. They know exactly when to just turn and hit. And then obviously the last resort is to stand up and spray. But the standing up is very unique, because so many African cobras stand up, right? But none of them stand up as tall and as gracefully in comparison to their body size as the Rinkals. Just that girl, I had a picture of her standing super tall, almost like 22 inches up. I measured the cage. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, they will stand very, very tall and have that broad hood, and then they blast you with venom. But what's interesting is Rinkals don't have any upper mandibles at all. The only teeth that are up there are the fangs, and the fangs are not hypodermic like a cobra. They're not slotted like a traditional spinning cobra, like a Mozambique spitter or a red spitter, or even some of the Asian spitters. They're grooved like a Gila monster. So what they're doing is they'll rear back and they'll breathe out real hard and they'll throw as much venom as they can. And it doesn't come out like a shotgun blast, like they say. It still comes out in two streams. But because it is losing velocity as it flies towards its target, the particles start to separate.
Right.
And that's what's causing that almost shotgun blast. There's actually a great high-speed video thing the BBC did a few years back. The problem is I don't agree with their study at all. Their study is just flawed in a lot of ways, but, you know, I'm not a scientist. Who am I to say that? But if you want to watch some high-speed footage, it's an awesome video.
Is that the one they did with the plastic, like the sheet target with the two white dots as eyes?
Yeah. It was like a paper plate with two dots. Like, come on, man. That's
Science.
That's not science, exactly. Oh, it spits for the eyes. No,
they use the expensive Chinette plates. Oh, thank you very much.
Right. I can't find this picture. Whatever. But yeah, they have all these amazing attributes, and they're incredibly intelligent. They're completely diurnal. The only time that they're awake at night is when I'm rummaging around in there. I'm pretty sure they can feel the pressure break in the room when I open the door. Because I'll walk in and I'll hit them with a flashlight, and they're just like this, just asleep. And then the minute I start to walk around,
leave me alone.
Yeah, the minute I start to walk around, you'll hear the like that growl, and then you'll start to hear like some of the newspaper start to crinkle, and then all of a sudden you'll hear this. You'll hear, and that's all the little heads hitting the tubs. So,
if I get my hands on you, I'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly right. I posted that video today of me pulling the big girl out of the trash can, and like I wanted to get so much more video, but it wasn't safe, and it was too much stress on her. So I literally just like picked her up and just put her in the cage, and I was like, that's good enough video for today. So, but again, I'm so enamored with these snakes that I got off track. A big departure. The concept of the project is, I want to learn everything I can about them. I want to learn everything I can about them. I want to work with them. I want to learn how they move, how they think, how they feed, how they breed. I do want to produce them, but I don't want to produce them in excess, or like, I'm not going to pair all of them this year. I'm not going to pair all of them next year, because it is such a niche animal. They're rather expensive, and how
big are clutches?
So they're live bearing, which is pretty awesome. You're looking at about a 7-month gestation period, but it depends on the locality. So the more southeast you go, the higher the litter, from what I gather.
But they're smaller?
No.
The bigger litter count, but smaller babies?
No, just more babies.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. There are some, so for example, in southeastern KwaZulu-Natal, I think they have the record. I think it was like 60 babies.
What?
Something like that, 60, maybe 55, something like that. The average is, I think, 12 to 20 for the majority of central South Africa. So like Gauteng province, Eastern Cape, Limpopo, southern Swaziland, southern Transvaal. But then there's a small pocket of them in southeastern Zimbabwe. Those animals only have like 6 or 7 babies. But I don't know anyone over there who has ever seen them breed or has bred them. So I don't know if those are bigger babies, if they're smaller babies.
Right.
But yeah, this is all part of the learning thing. So like if I do breed them and I produce them and I make a couple bucks, sure, rock and roll. If I just produce them and give them away to Venom Labs, rock and roll on that too. You know, I'll help fund research and for, you know, cancer drugs and anti-venom and whatever else. But I just want to learn everything I can about the species. So to coincide with them, you'll notice I have those 2 main big visions. I actually have another vision that I'm going to prep and do. So I'm going to have 3 Rinkals displays, and I'm doing them different with the live grass and the fake rock and all that. So
those, what's the anti-venom they use for those? Is it a polyvalent with everything else?
So there is a polyvalent. from what I've gathered, there have been cases of people using non-Rinkhals specific antivenom that was from polyvalent and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
However, the only antivenom prescribed, so to speak, for Rinkhals envenomation is Samar. So that's the South African polyvalent. And that does black mamba, green mamba, Mozambique spitting cobra, Cape cobra, Gaboon viper puff adder, Rinkhals, like 2 or 3 other Bitis. What else to do? I think that's about it. Yeah, but that's produced by the South African vaccine producers, SAVP, and they offer it as an individual vaccine, and they offer a vaccine kit, which has like multiple doses with the applicator. So if you had to do like a straight push, you could.
Yeah.
A lot of like the field biologists and stuff, they'll buy those kits because remember over there it's all over the counter, you know.
Right.
So I do plan on getting some of that eventually, but it is a more mild elapid, if you want to call it that. It's almost exclusively cytotoxic.
Mm-hmm.
So Johan was saying something on a video he made where it's like no one's died. No one has ever died in like 40 years from a Rinkhals bite. But then again, we have antivenom. They have antivenom. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that plays a huge factor in modern medicine. But again, I'm not playing with them at all. In fact, most of my animals are not even long enough to really tail. So everything is single or double hooks, and I just stay on my toes about it. But I do plan on getting some as soon as Henry and I finish off the paperwork.
How dare you be smart with venomous?
Yeah, I know, right?
What a freak.
I know. And I'm overly cautious about the spitting.
You got the freaking like motorcycle helmet, face shield.
Well, I mean, for those of you who
love it.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I have been spat in the eyes by an Asian cobra.
And a homeless man in the camera.
Shut up. I knew that was coming. By an Asian species, Anaja siamensis, which is the Indo-Chinese or the Thai black and white spitter. And I was wearing safety glasses. And safety glasses failed miserably.
Wasn't that safe?
Yeah, and I wasn't even handling the animal. That's the best part. I was supervising someone else handle the animal.
30 yards across the building. Oh, what the hell?
No, it was honestly it was about 3
ricochet.
It was about 3 yards. It was about 9-10 feet away, and it got me. And that was arguably one of the most excruciating things in my life. And I vowed to never have that happen ever again.
Like police should start swapping out their OC spray for something like that, and it would be more effective.
Yeah, but it's not as. Hey,
he lives.
He lives.
I made it.
You made it. We're just talking about venom in the eye.
Not good.
Not good.
Don't recommend it.
So real quick, before Billy tells us about his amazing projects he has going on, imagine this. Imagine taking a lit cigarette, right? And just rolling it straight in your pupil. That's what it feels like. And when you wash your eye out with water, it doesn't really do anything. All it's doing is dispersing the particles and dispersing the enzymes and the proteins and the venom, and it's making it worse. So you can flush your eyes out till the cows come home. You will get a lot of it out, but you're still going to suffer. It also tends to crystallize underneath the eyelid, which makes your eyes itch. So you constantly want to rub your eye, and all you're doing is rubbing in the venom.
Rubbing it into your brain.
Right. What actually works like $1 million is cow's milk or goat's milk. The proteins in the milk neutralize the enzymes in the venom. It actually turns the venom off.
That's what Steve Irwin did.
Is that what he did? I don't remember that.
Yeah. He was putting milk, like, I guess it was a red spitter.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget the tribe that wears all the red. They were like, oh, yeah, they gave him some water, but then they were like, here, use milk. And it's probably worse than the actual venom itself. He was like putting his hand in like this gross bowl, like raw milk. It looked like it had like separated, like skim milk. It was just, was like, I'd take my chances with the freaking Venom, man. Like,
Oof. Was it
Ugh.
Maasai tribe
yeah,
in Kenya?
yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, nobody ever warned you. They say, oh, that it's instant relief with the milk. It is legitimately instant relief. It takes a while for it to totally turn off, but it is phenomenally instant relief. But they don't tell you about the milk being cold and your eye shriveling up like a raisin. Oh, horrible experience.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Way better than the venom. But I will say this too, it is really creepy because the milk permeates itself into your tear ducts. So you weep white for like another 4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
Ugh.
So it's a wild ride. Don't do it. Wear a face mask. Don't just wear glasses. Wear gloves and a long sleeve shirt if you can.
Remember this, Billy.
Billy Hunt.
Done.
What's going on,
What's
Billy?
up, guys?
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, happy I can make it in time.
Yeah, man.
It was a pleasant surprise.
So we're talking about projects and goals that we have for ourselves and hearing about other people's as well. So you have more projects and more goals, bona fide projects and legitimate goals than honestly anyone I know.
Break it down even further than that. We're talking about how you remain focused on a particular project.
Yes. Good.
And goal.
Yeah.
And we figure who better to talk to about it than you, because you've got so many. I mean, we've all got a lot, but you've got a lot.
Yeah. I got a couple.
So it's like, how do you keep it within the threshold to where it's all like you're still focused on it, you're still into it. How do you juggle it all?
So, I guess I go with carpets. That's the easiest thing. Is I have a look that I want to try to make, or that I want to reproduce. Then I mean, our tastes change, as we keep. Like I've definitely, like I bred. For anyone who follows me and pays attention to any of my animals, I did a pairing of River and Trinidad this year. That was River is my really light blue, gray, striped coastal, and I have one of her offspring from a couple years ago that has her same color, so that light blue, steel, gray color. He has some striping. He's not as striped as her, but some striping. And I basically just wanted to make River better. That's my goal for that project. Well, I finally got to breed them this year, and I got what I was looking for out of a couple snakes. Phil's seen them in person. I was really lucky, and I hit some good ratio odds, and I hatched out these 2 snakes that happened to be a male-female pair that even out of the egg, when they pipped and they had, all I could see was their heads. They had like a lighter head, their pattern was more wacky. I don't want to say a spider type pattern because I feel like that kind of gives a negative connotation of something. But it has a more wiry pattern to it instead of a stripe pattern. So in me being focused on producing crazy stripes, which anyone that focuses on me and at any point knows that stripes are that's what gets me going.
Lord of the Stripes.
Yeah, I know what I like and I stick to it. But with that, I'm also open to, projects branching off of that, which when I hatched out those 2 snakes, it kind of made me say, oh crap, okay, this is 2 pairs of snakes that I want to see where they can go. They have the same phenotype. Why not see how wiry I can get that? Am I going to breed them together? Is it going to get more organized? Is it going to get more wacky? Is it going to, who knows? But that's the fun in breeding, especially with carpets and polygenic traits. I'm not just breeding a zebra to a jungle and I know, oh, I'm just going to get some zebras. I'll get some normals. You don't know what's going to happen. But, I guess to backtrack from that, the main goal is obviously to make stripes. I've just been really good at whenever I pick something like a project to work on, I want to hit what I want to hit, and my tastes haven't changed too much. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't have every subspecies of carpet, but I have a good amount of them. And just about every single subspecies, I have some type of striped project. I have striped IJs, I have striped jungles, obviously multiple coastals. I have every line of coastal, if you recognize that, or if you just think everything's a stripe or a tiger. There's different camps for that now. Maybe the best, yeah, Billy, you'll see some novas, buddy. It's actually funny. I breed my novas. I had 2 pairs of that, and I ended up getting some animals that had some markers for striping that, lo and behold, okay, I'm going to try to focus on striping in those too. So it's easy for me with a project because I like stripes, and I want everything to be as striped as a really nice Balin tiger. I've also wondered what is after that. Like we've bred, Balin is bred perfect stripes. We have a real thick dorsal stripe, perfect lateral stripes, and okay. And he's even said, yeah, I won't repeat that pairing or whatever. I remember seeing that years ago. Well, what happens after that? Is that as best as we can get? Can we go further than that? Can we add stripes? Can we take away stripes? I have an animal that I hatched that the last fourth of its body, the lateral stripes completely disappear, where it almost looks like a jag, but there's no jag in the pairing. And it's a perfect dorsal stripe and perfect lateral stripes until that point. Is that because it was a twin, so who knows if it's had something to do with that in the incubation process, or is it something that's reproducible? So I just kind of want to see how far I can take the stripe project too. I know Burke has some ideas. I won't put all his stuff out on air, but he has some ideas where we can take it. I have my ideas where we can take it. So it's, long story short, it's easy for me to stay focused because that's what I like. And if you work with what you like, you'll stick with the project.
Yeah.
Like my striped jungles are a really good example. I started with a really nice striped animal and a kind of striped animal, just kind of seeing what can happen. I'm already in the 2nd generation right now. And holy crap, I've sent you guys pictures. You guys have seen the holdbacks I'm keeping that I'm not really,
freaking unreal.
Yeah, and that's just 2 generations into, just selectively breeding for that phenotype. Like within 2, 3 generations, you should be able to hit whatever phenotype you're aiming for if you focus and you really look at things that you're trying to focus on as far as that stripe. If it's a stripe, or if it's let's say it's banding, or let's say it's chaotic pattern or color or whatever. So I'm really excited to see where I can take those animals that I'm keeping back and further that line and see, is it will the tipping go away? Will the tipping get, more prevalent? Will it do whatever? So that's what I'm doing. Now, obviously every project that I work with isn't striped. I have my morph stuff that's more instant gratification type of stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's an easy way for people to get, kind of stay engaged with a project. I think a lot of people abandon projects. Striped jungles are a perfect example where why don't we see perfectly striped jungles in the States?
Yeah.
We have these perfect banded, velvet black, neon yellow, no tipping animals in the States, but we don't have that with stripes, and they've been around for how long?
I don't know. I think those took a backseat to the ivories and the zebras, and people were just preoccupied with other stuff.
Well, Nick's the only one that focused on the ivories. If he wasn't doing those wouldn't be anywhere near what they are.
That's true.
But I do think Jag had a big part in it. Zebras, like you said, absolutely. Because people want instant gratification. I mean, and when zebras first came on the scene, I remember seeing zebras at a local show for $2,500. Why would anybody focus on a polygenic striped jungle that you might get a quarter of that for? Like I get it from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
But at the same time, are you in it for the business standpoint, or are you in it because you just enjoy the animals and you want to see what you can do with genetically and all that? I mean, it's well documented that striping in carpets is polygenic, and there's multiple genes at play, and there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. I know some guys right now that they have projects that they're working on that just through, let's say, tiger coastals, there's so many different looks that pop out that we're going to end up having 4, 5, 6 different looks of tiger coastals if those individuals stick with those projects. You guys have seen my Petersons. Those have a distinct look.
Very. Very unique.
Like just in the little group I have, I have a 2.2 group right now. I have ones that have super clean dorsal stripes, and then I have a pair that have the thick dorsal stripe with a lot of muddy, speckling, dirty, whatever you want to call it on it. Right there, that's 2 different avenues you can take that project. So I think it just depends on focus, depends on what your end goal is, depends on how long you want to put into stuff. I've always been of the opinion that it's not that I do it for like fame or anything like that, but when you look at the people that have been in the hobby a long time, like Jason Balin's a perfect example. He's been doing it how long? He got that project so long ago. He's still producing tigers, and they're just absolutely incredible. I'm getting one of his animals later this week that was a leftover in one of his clutches, if I'm honest. It's like, hey, I have 2 animals left. Which one do you want? And you guys have seen that animal. It is insane.
Insane.
Absolutely insane. So
it makes you wonder what the holdbacks look like.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I see that, and like my Nova guineas. Like Phil, I've told you all about my ideas with those. I want to try to get stripes.
Yep.
I want to eventually try to work on that figure 8 type of pattern with them, because I've talked to all the guys that work with the Nova guineas, and they've all been straight up with me and said, hey, we just bred them. We never really focused on anything, and they're carpets. You can selectively breed for whatever you want. So I'm keeping back a trio that I think are going to be really detrimental to seeing if we can hone in, especially the striping, in them. And not just dorsal stripes. I'm keeping back stuff that has more than anything, lateral stripes, because that's a big marker for animals that are going to throw stripes too.
Yeah.
Think of when I think you start to get an eye for things when you breed, let's say you breed a tiger to a non-tiger animal. And you'll see animals that have, maybe they have a couple of the portholes that are connected. They have 3 or 4 portholes connected on their side, on the lateral aspect of their body. That animal has a higher chance of producing striped animal. Now, they're not going to be perfectly striped. It's a process. It's a long
foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess my long rambling nonsense goes to, if you like to stick with the project, like stick with it. If you don't get exactly what you're looking for the first generation, most projects that are worth sticking with, like the Balin Tiger stuff, like the first Balin Tigers, shameless plug here, we have, pictures of those in the magazine. Like, go look at how those look and look at how they look now. Like
very different.
Yeah, and it took time. It took years. It's okay to work with a project and it not give you instant gratification, but I think with the hobby that works with so many recessive morphs and incomplete dominance and dominant stuff that is you see in the first generation or you see in the second generation. It seems like some people, not all, that's not fair to say all, but some people shy away from those long-term projects. And the best projects are the ones that people take the time and put the time in. If you're going to be in the hobby 10 years, why not take those 10 years to work on a polygenic trait if that's what you like,
Right.
There's no better feeling than breeding for something and seeing a baby pop out, like when I bred River to Trinidad, when I saw this one male that is exactly what I was looking for in that first generation, when I saw that animal pop out, it made it all worth it. And I've had River for, was it 21? I've had her for 5 years. And it was my third time breeding her, and finally getting that animal that I was looking for out of her was just, it was so rewarding. I wish everybody would strive for that, because you can take your projects to the next level, even if you have morph projects. Let's say you do, like we said, zebra to jungle. Zebras aren't all created the same. There's so much variability, just
dude,
try to have a better eye for it.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing that I think is great. Is like there's zebras that look like zebras, and then there's zebras that look like freaking neon green kaleidoscopes.
Yeah, exactly.
And just like you said, honing in on what you like, honing in on what makes you happy. And then I think, as much as I love hearing Billy talk about his end game goals with the breeding and stuff, at the end of the day, I don't want to speak for Billy, but at the end of the day, he just loves carbon pythons. So, I mean, as frustrating as it may be, if he didn't produce anything, he would still be stoked to even just own them.
Yeah, I like what I have, and if I can capitalize on making them look better in my eyes, like I know for a fact, Daytona's this weekend. I know for a fact I will have people come to my table, and whether they say it or not, they're going to see what I have some animals priced at, and they're going to kind of shake their head. But that's what I'm looking for. So that's what I value more. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where everybody has different tastes. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Christian?
I don't know. Warwick brings up a good point with the Brisbanes.
Yeah,
those traditionally have issues like with fertility, right?
Yeah.
So outcrossing those into something else, like I can't really say I blame somebody for wanting to do that, because it's like clearly we're sort of hitting a ceiling with Brisbanes and producing more of them in terms of like quote unquote purity. But it's like that's exactly what I would want to tie into with Brisbanes, is some sort of tiger or stripe or something like that, because they already sort of fit that. They fall in line with that sort of phenotype anyways.
Some do. But our locality projects that we have, it's only a matter of time till we have to outcross.
Yeah.
I know some people don't believe in breeding depression. I've heard people say that. I personally do. I've seen it a little bit in my stuff that I know has been, bred together for generations and generations. I know guys that are using Brisbanes because of their color to outcross red coastal stuff, which I think is that is a fantastic way to add new blood, but you're not compromising on the color that you're looking for too. Because a lot of times when you outcross stuff, you're compromising something for that generation, and you kind of have to restart. I think people shy away from that too. Like my striped jungles, I'm gonna have to outcross them eventually, unless I find a badass striped jungle. Which, I mean, they're there. If you find somebody that'll sell them, you know what I mean. But more than likely, I'll have to use a banded animal, and then I'm kind of, taking a step back.
You started from scratch.
Possibly. It all depends. But that's just something you have to do. I think, like what Austin was saying, I think that people kind of poo-pooing on the crossing locality animals. Why? It's a bloodline. That's all it is. It's just a bloodline. Yeah, would it
Right.
be
It's
awesome
starting to
to
have
keep them?
problems.
Yeah, you know, there are fertility issues with the, like, whether people are admitting it or not. Just do a quick search and look at all the Brisbane coastal clutches that you've seen. Some are perfect, but there's a good amount that you'll find where there's a lot of infertiles. There's a lot of, you know, eggs that don't make it, or animals that just don't go. You know, that's just one of those things. So yeah, it's just to a point where you have to outcross stuff. It is what it is. I don't think people should shy away from it. I know there's been posts and threads and stuff that have said, you know, oh, don't do that, or if you do that, don't say that they're whatever locality they are, because once you cross it, it's not that locality, and it's a blood. At the end of the day, it's a bloodline. So why not say what bloodline that is? You know, if I breed a Brisbane to a Balin tiger, I'm going to call it a Balin tiger Brisbane coastal python,
Right.
coastal carpet python. You know, I'm going to say exactly what it is, so whoever buys it knows what it is. Now, if that person, let's say I sell it to Justin, and now Justin decides, hey, I'm just going to call it a Brisbane. I have no control over that. None of us do. And that seems to be the worry with everybody. And I get it. I understand it. I don't agree with it, but you can't control what other people do. You know, like, all you can do is what you do. So, like Austin says there, he's had 5 slug clutches with his. That is absolutely frustrating. You know, and is that because of inbreeding depression? Is that because we've only had, you know, a pair or trio that all of our stock in the States is coming from? I don't know the history behind that line specifically, you know, but I guarantee you, if you outcrossed it, you wouldn't get a full slug clutch, just because of how genetics work, you know. Or I could be wrong, and it could just be something with those snakes. But I would bet my money that would work.
Yeah.
You know? So I kind of started ranting, guys. I'm sorry.
That's right. What about the other stuff? Like, so you have projects that are bona fide breeding goals with your carpets and with a lot of the Australasian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What about some of the stuff like the rhino rats and the Pasillinotus, and like let's dive into that too. Like Justin and I were talking about earlier, how, you know, we have what we like, but we also, all three of us have extremely diverse collections, whether it be colubrids or Australasian pythons, you know, or North American stuff, whatever. How do you look at what you have and why you have it?
So a lot of the stuff I have is because selfishly it's what I like. And I wish it was deeper than that. Like you guys know, I absolutely love Willis Phillip. There he is.
Oh, there we go.
Willis Phillip?
Nope, we're here. We're here.
So I absolutely adore beauty snakes, right? So I have my Chinese beauty snakes. I have my Taiwans. I have my blues. I have my, do I have more than that? Ridley eye. How did I forget those? I have the Ridley eye, you know?
Can't forget about the Ridley eye.
Dude, I keep forgetting about the Ridley eye. So as far as like goals for those, the blues, I like to hear, or not hear, I like to focus on color with those. Phil, you've seen my male, just as a hatchling and yearling. That guy is insane.
Insane.
His blue is, sorry, Miko. His blue is super dark. He just has that perfect look that I've always looked for. And I'm very picky with my blue beauties because I want, one, they're big snakes. So it's not like you can have a group of 20 of them and not take up a lot of room.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. The Ridley eye, I honestly just want to produce those. I hate saying I don't have a goal with stuff, but I really just want to produce them. Yeah, I want to make the nice colored ones and all that, but at the same time, they're just amazing animals. Like my male looks more stereotypical Cameroon Highlands animal, where he has the bright colors, the bright orange, the bright blue head, all that.
Right.
To where my female, was sold to me as the same thing, but she has more of your stereotypical Malaysian look, where she's a little more muted. So I'm curious to see what the babies would turn out of those. But I mean, unless you're messing with color and stuff, there's not too much you can do with those, honestly, besides making them brighter or duller.
Because there's patterning, but I feel like the patterning that's there, shy of making it more bold or more crisp, you wouldn't want to really mess with it. I feel like it's so unique and indicative of them,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to find a picture of your Blue Beauty right now as we speak. Are you just grabbing it out?
I'm grabbing a Taiwan.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Look at that animal.
She's in shed. She doesn't look great. So you see all these, especially by her neck. And this is something that I was talking to the Zirkles about. You see how she just has all these black blotches?
Right.
That's all it is, black blotches. Now, when you get further down the line.
Is it show and tell time?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. Well, it's not Billy on Snakes and Stogies if he doesn't show something. So she doesn't have too much of it. But one thing the Zirkle, here we go. You see how there's white in those diamonds on her lateral part?
Yeah.
See? There. So I've seen animals that they have the white in these black blotches by their neck.
Almost like a rainbow boa.
Almost, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So her back.
See Phil's tattoo for reference.
So yeah. So like when I first got my first ones from the Zirkles, which actually that's where that female came from. Amy, that's what she said that Rob looks for in holdbacks, is that they want to try to exacerbate that white in those diamonds as far up close to the head as they can. So that kind of made me think, oh man, there's more to this than just Taiwan's to Taiwan, because they're always just kind of, all the Asian rat stuff is, I mean, we joke about it, but they kind of say, oh, it's just Cobra food. Who cares? Just breed them. It is what it is. Nobody really cares.
Where's Henry?
But there's also stuff that you can talk about. Yeah, there's stuff that you can, breed for. So that's something I'll look for. Especially color, like that. Phil, you've seen the one I have downstairs. His color is amazing.
Crazy.
If I could get that color on that female animal, I'd be happy as could be.
And it just goes to show you like how I love Taiwan beauties, bro. I think they're probably my favorite next to the Ridley eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
they don't do much for me.
Well, that's whatever.
Well, they don't like
calicos are nice. I like the calicos.
Calico is pretty cool. But this, to me, I personally would rather have those jet black dots the entire length of the body. And you know how the tail gets almost banded, almost like a baby king cobra?
Yeah.
I would want to have dots the entire way down. Like, that's just me. Like, the same way that you want to reduce the dots, I want to increase the dots. And I think that just goes back to what we were just talking about of, like, finding the direction you want to go with it and just augmenting it. But sorry, go on.
No, that's a really good example, because you and me, Phil, we differ on what we prefer. Like at the very basic part of it, I like stripes, you like bands.
Yeah.
You don't dislike stripes, I don't dislike bands, but our preference is that. Same thing with the Taiwans there. That's why I got those Texas rats downstairs, because they have those diamonds and they have whites in them. And that I've started affectionately calling them American beauties. Just why not? Because that's what it reminds me of. Yeah. That was why I like them.
We need to do a photo shoot of those snakes in a bathtub full of rose petals.
You can do that.
Same font and everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Literally the same movie poster, just swap.
We gotta put them on a bed. Let's just go all out.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. We'll get Kevin Spacey in the background looking all creepy.
Yeah, poor guy. He can't help it. All right. So then the Chinese beauties, I have Calico Het Hypo and Hypo Calico. That's my pair. there's not much I can do as far as that. It's just what the mutation's going to do. Some will be calicos, which I personally prefer the calico look more than the hypocalico. They're both amazing. I like stuff that has a lot of chaotic, weird patterning to it. When you get the calicos and the Chinese beauties, they don't have any of the stereotypical beauty snake markings. You know, there's no striped tail, there's no banding, there's no diamonds, there's no eye stripe, there's no any of that. It's just
a giant palmetto corn.
It is.
It's so insulting.
So I was at Tinley, little side story. I was at Tinley in 2019, and that was where I met Joe for the first time. And we were at Larry Keller's table, who is very big into the calico Chinese beauties. And I tried to sell Joe on the fact that calico Chinese beauties are actually a lot cooler and look better than palmetto corns. Because in my personal opinion, they do. Do they look similar?
I agree.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes. But that's just my personal opinion. I understand why beauties aren't for everybody. Why would you get a beauty when that can be high strung and a little bigger, or you can get a corn snake that's a corn snake? You know, I understand that. You know, if you guys aren't seeing the reoccurring theme, it's all on what you prefer. There's no formula for this stuff. You know, I could say every example I've given, I could give the exact opposite opinion on it and still have the same message. You know, let's see. I'm trying to think of the other projects I have. Well, the Maclots. Don't say Maclots, please. The Maclots are
for the love of God.
They're
the
actually
Maclots.
For the love of God. The Maclots have a lot more variability than people give them credit for. You know.
Yeah.
All I have right now are Timor locale animals, which are the most common in the hobby.
But even your Timor locale are vastly different in appearance. I mean, they all have the similar modeling to them, but each animal is totally different.
Yeah, I have some that are light brown with dark freckles. I have some that are dark with light brown freckles. I have some that are heavily freckled, some that are less freckled. There's so many different ways you can go through that look and hone in what you wanted to. You know, like there's even one that Jeff has, Jeff and Kendra. I was a week away from nabbing that thing, and they got it before me. It actually looks like it has an organized stripe down its back, if that makes sense, which obviously, you know, Billy's all about that. But I think if you just have an eye to look for something, and maybe it's not so much you're looking for something that isn't there. I think it just comes with experience. You know, 'cause I hate using the Dinker ball python analogy, you know, where everything is something. But there's also maybe a little something to that. But I look at it more from a polygenic standpoint, where, okay, I see a look that I like. Let me breed this thing for 2, 3, 4 generations and see if I can replicate that look, you know? And that goes with everything, whether it's the beauties or the carpets or the Maclots or shit, even green trees. You know, Smitty, you know a lot about the green tree stuff. You know, like how many generations can you go in and you start to consistently get the look that you're looking for if you use the right animals? It's the same mentality. You can do that with anything. You can even do that with mutations. You know, just because let's say xanthics. Just because an xanthic carpet is an xanthic carpet doesn't mean that every xanthic carpet is going to be the same, because there's that variability within them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, I see this a lot at local shows. Not to ping on them, it's something I've noticed on, is that someone will want a ball python mutation. Not to harp on the ball python stuff, there's just more of them, so more examples.
Sure.
They say, hey, I want a black pastel yellow belly. So they walk around the show, and they buy the cheapest black pastel yellow belly because, you know, they're trying to sell high. That's a common business thing, right? Well, not everyone is created the same. You know, like there's people, Tom, I've said this example a couple times, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but Tom, I want to say Bernhardt or Barnhart, but sorry if I'm butchering his name. He is well known for his line of black pastel yellow bellies that are leaps and bounds ahead of most other people that are doing it because he took the time to selectively breed within the mutation together to where his animals have a specific look now that are absolutely incredible. You know, and I think if people were more selective about what they were putting together, you would see a lot more of that. And we are starting to see a lot more of that because we're starting to see a lot more crazy stuff pop out that isn't just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mutations in one snake. You know, no matter what species it is. You know, like Justin, look at some of those corns that you're getting into. You know, holy crap! Like those things are insane.
It's getting
Absolutely
hard to keep
insane.
up with all of it.
Yeah, there's a lot, but
especially, well, it's like when you get animals that have 4 or 5 different things going on, and then multiple hets behind them as well. That's when it's like, what are these even going to be when I pair them up with something else with 5 other genes? You know, it's almost ridiculous.
Like, you got some. Forgive me if I don't get it completely right, but you have like some caramel stuff, right, or honey stuff, or
honey, which
so you have some honey.
Caramel and sun-kissed makes honey. So,
but if you just take a random caramel and a random sun-kiss and put it together, that doesn't mean you're going to get animals that look like yours. You know, like from my understanding,
right,
the
there's going
ones
to be
you got,
small tweaks.
well, the ones that you got are descendant from Miami lineage, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that male honey tester, yeah.
Yeah, so that plays a factor into it. You know, like there's more to it than just let me take this gene, random, put them together and see, oh, I got this amazing animal. No, there's a lot more thought that goes into it. So, you know, it's just food for thought that when you're looking into a project and, you know, long term and all that, is it something you're just trying to turn and burn, or is it something that you really want to see the, you know, the fruits of your labor through? Let's be realistic, you know, 8-10 years from now. You know, that's how I look at it. When I look at something, like I'm looking at stuff years down the road, like,
yeah,
okay.
That's what I was saying when we started, was like, be prepared to look long term. You know, like I said, a decade, I think, is where I said like the minimum almost would be where you really see concrete results from something at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. The Balin Tigers are a really good example for me because Jason's been working with those forever. The Madame Blueberry Red Coastal stuff, especially the stuff that Eric Hernandez has, I mean, that just speaks for itself. The M-Pen Red Coastal stuff, that all stems back from an animal he randomly bought at a reptile show back in 2005. And he has selectively bred since then to get these amazing animals that we have now. You know, he put in the time. It's what, 15 years later? And it shows you put in the time, you'll get the reward, you know, as long as you know what you're looking for and you're breeding for that specific phenotype and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even the corn that Phil showed earlier, like the belly having all that going on, like there might be something there.
Yeah.
You know, just like you were saying, not really splitting hairs, but when you watch Sarah's videos on her YouTube channel about these, she does morph deep dives. Mm-hmm. So she talks about these individual morphs, or like maybe this group, like the A-male group, which has a handful of different things going on in it. Like the belly patterning and stuff is something that plays into some of these morphs and like helps identify some of them. So I'm like, it's good you're hanging on to that female because there may very well be something interesting going on there.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is like I'm eager to just get another male Miami, but if I can evaluate the animal and say, you know what, this looks too normal, I'm not going to keep it. You know, I'll hold out for one that fits her motif best. You know, and let's be real. Like I said before, I found Miami face stuff as high up as North Palm Beach, and then I found stuff down like, and down in Homestead and stuff. And it's still Miami phase, but it isn't necessarily from Dade County.
It's that Miami phenotype.
It's that Miami phenotype, right?
Yeah.
And the same way, I've found normal corns in Miami Beach. Like, it's fucking Miami, but it doesn't look like it's supposed to, So choosing the right path in that regard is something that I really want to focus on, even though I had no aspirations of doing corn snakes at all. It kind of just fell into my lap. But I was going to touch base on real quick, dude, blood pythons. So I am not going to get into blood pythons at all. I messed around with them in the past. I think they're awesome. They're one of my favorite pythons. But just sitting back over the past decade and watching, like, just choosing Goldeneye, for example, because that's probably my favorite morph, and just watching people line breed Goldeneyes to get reduced pattern or more black or more bullseyes or whatever you're looking for. And now, because more people are doing it, the price is becoming drastically more attainable, to the point where I'm even like, man, I could have one of those, but I'm not going to. But that just goes back to what Billy was saying about, getting the desired phenotype and expanding upon it.
So when I go into a project, I guess at this point, I have, like you guys were saying, I have a couple projects, right?
A few.
I have a few. So,
all joking aside, how many do you think you have off the top of your head? 12? 15?
You went in and out. I didn't hear you.
I was saying, all joking aside, how many do you really think you have off the top of your head? 12, 15, maybe?
Projects?
Yeah.
I've never counted. I'm kind of scared too.
Because all right, well, let me put it this way: like, I'm not talking about your pairings that you've done before. I'm talking about something like
dedicated long-term projects.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let's do striped coastals because that's an easy one for me. I have Peterson coastals. I have my Russian Balin coastals that I also have hatched out normals, and I've hatched out red coastals out of that. So there's different ways you can go from that. I have River and Trinidad, who are striped coastals, but I don't have definitive lineage on them, but I really love their color. So guess what? They're gonna keep doing their thing, and that project's gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep making blue carpets.
Dude, legit blue.
Yeah, you guys have all seen the picture, but you're gonna see it again.
What's interesting is the Germans have a color that it's very unique to a lot of German military stuff. It's called Blaugrau, which literal translation is blue-gray. And that is definitively the color I would choose for that. I mean, and see, that picture makes it look more brown. It's not even, because that blue background, it like, I feel like the contrast is off.
The Nachschlagen.
The Nachschlagen.
So
no,
when
that
she's
snake
fired up,
is blue, guys.
Yeah, when she's fired up, it's insane. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. Let's see. So I also have Tiger Jag stuff. Now I'm also crossing some of that stuff together. Then I have, striped coastal jags. I have, what else I have?
Don't look at me.
Sorry, I'm not looking at you, buddy.
I'm trying to find a picture of River because I'm pretty sure I took a picture of her when she was out of her box.
There's so many so just in striped coastals alone, I have about 6 or 7 different ways I could go. You know what I mean? And now that's not including the striped caramels I produced this year, the River stuff that I produced this year, the M Pen stripe stuff that I have, the MMB red stuff that's striped, 50% Russian stuff that I have. Like, just in striped coastals alone, I've got probably 10 different offsets I could do if I wanted to. Saying it out loud makes me feel like I'm insane, but
it's awesome.
But I know what I like, and I just want to see what they'll all do together. Like, I have this, you've seen it, Phil. This it's a 50% Russian, 50% MMB outcross male, the one that I have downstairs, and you and Casey both said it looks like one you would find on the side of the road in Australia.
100%.
I plan, as of now, things change, but I plan when that's up to size and some of these Russian Balins are up to size, breeding that to them and just seeing if I can organize that pattern or if I can keep that chaotic pattern that he has with the super black highlights and stuff. Because that Russian stuff gets slept on a lot, to where I'm starting to notice that the stuff that's just half Russian red tiger bloodline, they have like these really defined, or some of them do, it's all variability. They have these really defined black highlights on some of their pattern. And there's some that, especially on the back of their head, like right on the back of their head just before their neck starts, it's almost like someone took a Sharpie and it's so defined and so sharp. And it just, seeing stuff like that makes me think, hey, let's see what this is about. Let's see if that means anything. Is it just the bloodline? Is that a marker for something? So I'm also noticing the animals that have that seem to have this bald spot on the top of their head where there's not a lot of pattern. Could it be something? Sure. Could it also not be something? Absolutely. But there's only one way to find out. And, like I said, I'm in it for the long haul. So unless something drastic happens, we'll find out in a few years, But that's kind of how you have to go into a long-term project, is you're willing to play the waiting game and see what happens.
I love it. It's great.
That's what I do.
That's what this whole show's about.
What are you planning on getting anything at Daytona?
Yeah.
Is there anything you're looking for?
There's always stuff I'm looking for. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Let me ask you this.
I just told you I have like.
What did you pre-buy?
I need rhinos. I need more rhinos.
What have you pre-purchased, Billy?
I am looking for. Oh, we're doing that? Okay. Pre-purchase. Smitty's bringing me a. Shut up.
Okay.
Shut up, guy. You're the worst. Smitty's bringing me a trinket that he loves.
Dude, I can't wait to cuddle that thing, dude. I can't wait.
It is a very pretty snake. Like, I'm not denying that. I literally don't mess with it. Like, I make sure it's still alive.
I'm just gonna play with that snake at the table. I'm
happy it's still alive.
Play with it.
I fed it last night.
So
took a nice fuzzy, frozen thawed fuzzy.
First
time in a minute.
I'm also getting a female for him that I'm picking up. I already paid for.
Nice.
If there's more, I might get another one just to make sure that I have a female for that project. Getting a Amazon tree boa from Kyle at Mojo Herpetoculture.
Cool.
Balin tiger from Jason. That one that I keep showing you guys pictures of.
Yeah.
Possibly Spilotes from Jason Hood.
Cool.
Depends on if he's going to bring that or not. I think that's all I got pre-paid. But I'm also looking for, like you guys heard me say before, Apalachicola Kings. And more Amazon tree boas. I really want to get more into those. I kind of want to get more into the arboreal stuff. Amazons are they're so cool. Yeah, Austin knows. They're so cool. I know they're not for everybody, but I think from a breeder standpoint, and then kind of going with the theme of the show from a long-term project aspect, like there's so many different things you can do, and what a better species to try to figure out what actually is going on, because I've talked to a local guy. I don't want to get too far into it, but he has some theories on the genetics of Amazon tree boas that he was telling me some of the stuff, and it didn't seem far-fetched, like it seemed like, oh, all right, and he has a lot of like, examples behind his theories. So why not play around with that? And worst case scenario, you have these awesome arboreal tree boas that you're messing with. You know, like it's really a win-win. The only upside is you could produce more and figure things out.
Yeah.
You know, downside, you have a group of awesome animals that you get to keep and observe and do that, which, I mean, that's why we're all into this. You know, like
Yeah.
breeding is just a side, a side thing for it. It's not a main thing for most of us.
We didn't even touch on like decor and like do-it-yourself projects, and like my roommate's probably going crazy because I've been accumulating different styrofoam blocks from work that I'm going to do some carving and some grouting and painting, and like we didn't even touch base on that because those are projects into themselves, you know.
You ever watch the videos? They're old videos now, but lizard landscapes on YouTube.
No, I gotta check them out.
Look them up. I'm sorry. I'll just say that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just rabbit hole.
He goes in. They're long videos, but just do it. Just watch them.
Yeah.
It literally goes step by step on how to do what you just talked about.
And see, like I'm gonna do some desert stuff with like some sand, like sandstone, and like I want to try and make fake ancient ruin type bricks and stuff like that, and stack them up. And
look up that channel.
Okay.
He does exactly.
I'm finding basically two types of YouTube videos right now in that regard. Either extremely detailed, crazy stuff where I personally don't have the time, the resources, or the artistic ability to do it, or I'm finding stuff that's like really, really basic, and I'm like, I know I can do that better, and I'm going to, you know. So either way, it's incredibly inspirational. So yeah, definitely send me that link.
Yeah, it's just Lizard Landscapes on YouTube. That's his channel.
Right on. Good
All right,
stuff.
well, it's kind of getting late, so
Yeah.
I know you guys are. I got in late, so I could.
It's cool,
I
man.
could yap for a while.
It's worth it. This is the cherry on top, Billy Hunt.
Yep, I am being summoned. It is that time.
Yeah. Well, are we going to do any kind of Daytona special? Because I mean, you and Jake aren't doing something Thursday, right?
No, I don't know. I'd prefer not to have to haul any gear.
I mean, we don't have to really haul gear. We could do like an Instagram live or something. You know?
That, yeah, sure, but
we could do an Instagram live and just do, you know, you, me. How many people can you get on that? 2 or 3?
I don't know. It's changed. You can add more now. I don't know how many it is though.
I was gonna say, if anything, let's just get, you know, you and me, and we'll split screen it, and then we can talk to people at the show and maybe show some, you know, friends or whatever, and we'll play it by ear.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Well, Billy, thank you for chiming in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy I was able to come and let you guys listen to me ramble for a little bit.
Dude, it's always awesome. It's always awesome. And thank you for everyone who stuck in this long listening to us talk about projects and goals and endeavors. And if you get a chance to make it out to the National Reptile Breeders Expo 2021 in Daytona Beach, Florida, it is this weekend. So come find us. We'll all be there with bells on.
Dead center of the show.
Dead center.
Dead center. You walk in the entrance, just walk straight, and you'll see us on the right.
Yeah.
You won't miss our banner. Trust me.
As long as Phil has that look on his face that he did on the picture, the mugshot.
Well, that's my mom sitting on the couch taking a photo. I had my mom actually pick up the banner for me because I was at work and I couldn't get out of work to do it. And so I went to their house to pick it up, and she's sitting on the couch. I was like, "Ma, take a picture." And she knows how to work a smartphone. You know, she's a very intelligent woman, but she must have took like 13, 14 photos of me standing there. So by the time she got the good one, I was like this.
I showed that picture to Anita, and she was like, "Why does he look like that?"
Yeah. So
we ask that question all the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thanks. So
all right, everyone, have a good evening. If
Thank
we
you for
see you
watching
this weekend, we'll see you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will see y'all next week.
Yeah. Future Sound Pythons, check them out.
Yeah.
Bye.